What's going on, guys? Orm's Forum coming at you again today. Got another request for a draft grade. Today I'm going to be doing the Cincinnati Bengals for all you Bengals fanatics out there. I actually like what they did in the draft. They went out, they had the first overall pick. Obviously, they had a really bad team for a long time now. But I like what they did in this draft. They had the first overall pick, and they took Joe Burrow, the quarterback out of LSU. Top 5 pick. Best quarterback in the draft, probably, right? 6'3", 220. Exploded on the scene as a senior. Former OSU quarterback that couldn't really get on the field. He couldn't beat out some guys. Then he transferred over to LSU. Didn't have a great first year in LSU. Then he literally exploded onto the scene as a senior. Got like the West Coast skill set as a quarterback there. Very intelligent, very accurate, extremely accurate. Super calm. He's got a swagger to him. He's just a kid that you literally want to hand the keys over and say, just take over my franchise, because this guy's the real deal. He just got better as he went on in college. For some reason, he just couldn't break. He couldn't get that starting gig at Ohio State. They were just looking for something different, I guess. But he went crazy his senior season, man. He ended up with like over 8,800 yards, 78 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions. The thing that really stood out to me too, there was two things that really stood out to me too about this kid, was that his completion percentage was like almost 69%, 68.8% completion percentage. That's outstanding. That is absolutely outstanding. And something that really stood out too was his rushing yards. He had over 820 rushing yards his whole career as a college quarterback, though, with over 13 touchdowns. That kind of slips the cracks a bit. He's got some good mobility to him. He likes to run. There's some things about him that he doesn't have the strongest arm. But his arm is just super pinpoint accurate. Like, he's just got great accuracy to him. And he takes a lot of hits, though. He took a lot of hits. He's always trying to make plays. He's running out of the pocket a lot. Throws well on the run, but he takes big hits. So he's going to have to kind of he's going to have to kind of curb that a little bit. But the Bengals got their quarterback for the next 10, 12 years or longer. This kid's the real deal. So that was it. In his senior year, 65 total touchdowns in his senior year too. His 60 through the air, 5 on the ground. Just insane. So that was their first round pick. Then their second round pick, they went out and got T. Higgins, the wide receiver out of Clemson. That was in the second round. 6'4", 215. This kid gets a first, second round grade, but this kid's the real deal. He's everything you're looking for in a wide receiver. He's got the size, the speed. He can get up and snatch the ball out of defenders' hands with ease. He's a fierce competitor. He takes the top off the defense. He just does everything you want as a wide receiver. Physical runner, and he's willing to block. Loves to block. That's what you love to see and hear as your wide receiver. And then you pair him up with Joe Burrow. This could be a nice 1-2 combination for years to come. I'm excited to actually see that for Bengals fans. That's good football. That offense is going to be loaded in Cincinnati. I don't care. Their offense wasn't really the problem too much, man. Their defense was, right? But that offense is going to be just, oh my God. You know what I mean? But Higgins did have a limited route tree at Clemson. He gets a bit sluggish sometimes when he takes on physical corners. But he's physical himself, but he tends to get a little bit sluggish. But that's just coaching, man. They need to coach him up on that. He had 135 catches, 2,400 yards through the air, 18.1 yards per catch. So it was a big play. 27 touchdowns in 3 years at Clemson. So you get yourself a number 1 wide receiver in the future there. That was a great pick by them, and that was in the second round. I really like that pick. It's a good pick by the Bengals. Then they went out and they took Logan Wilson, the linebacker out of Wyoming. 6'2", 240. I gave this kid about a 4th or 5th round grade. Took him in the 3rd. Not that he was a reach, but he's more of a cover linebacker. He came to Wyoming as a DB, grew into a linebacker. So he's a really good cover linebacker. He's got enough speed and understanding of the game to play the position though. So you like that. He was a 3-year captain, got a high motor, great instincts, relentless. So you do like that about him. But his measurables are a little bit limited. He relies on anticipating the play before really diagnosing it. So he's kind of like, he does a lot of guesswork. So sometimes he'll lose in the end there. But he's a good linebacker. He'll probably use right away as a cover linebacker. He was super productive at Wyoming though. 421 tackles, 10 INTs, 14 pass breakups, and 7 sacks. So he can be used as a blitzer too. So it still was a good pick. It was a little bit of a reach, but it's still a good pick. It was still a good pick by them. Then they went back-to-back in the 4th round. Then they went back-to-back with another linebacker. My favorite position, by the way. I played it. It's my favorite position. They went out and got Akeem-Davis-Gaither, the linebacker at Appalachian State. 6'2", 220. I gave this kid about a 3rd, 4th round grade. He got drafted in the 4th, so that's pretty good. This kid's sideline to sideline. Got good speed, great instincts. He was a tackling machine for his last 2 years. He had back-to-back over 100 tackles in his last 2 years at Appalachian State. So he's got a nose for the football, and you love that. He works through traffic well. He gets around blockers, runs around them, through them, whatever he's got to do to get through them. Solid tackler, good cover linebacker. He blitzes. He does everything pretty well. He played special teams for Appalachian there, and good linebacker overall. A little bit small. Length is a bit of an issue, but he's got starter potential. And I really like the kid coming out, man. It was actually a good pick by them. So that was the 4th round pick. Then they went in the 5th. Went defense again. They took Khalid Kareem, the defensive end out of Notre Dame. 6'4", 260. I gave this kid a 2nd, 3rd round grade, and he got drafted in the 5th. Surprised he was still there. Physical, high motor kid. Long arms, heavy hands, so he's got really good punch. Good get off for the pass rush, but he's limited on the pass rush at the same time. He lacks that speed and that flexibility to get around the edge. He's not going to burn you. He's not going to burn offensive tackle. He's not going to leave anybody in the dust. So he really needs to work on that. Could move inside because he likes to shoot gaps. He can shoot. He's got that quick get off, so he could be used inside just to shoot the gaps. 109 tackles, 13 sacks, 8 pass breakups over 4 years. It's a pretty solid pick, man. He dropped for some reason, I don't know, but he did. But I thought that was a good pick by them. Then they went on to the 6th. Yeah, the Bengals didn't really do much. They went like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They didn't have multiple picks in multiple rounds or anything like that. So in the 6th round, they took akeemdavis-gaither, the offensive tackle out of Kansas. 6'4", 300. Gave this kid about a 4th or 5th round grade. Took him in the 6th. Not bad. Nimble mover. Run game is where he excels. Good technician. Needs to get stronger. He lacks that anchor. Strength and pop needs to be worked on. You can always just work on that in the gym. That's something you just need to get in the gym with. He might be a liability in pass protection, so he's a little bit of a project, but it wasn't that bad of a pick. Then they went 7th round. This was their last pick of the draft. They went out and took Marcus Bailey, the linebacker out of Purdue. 6'1", 240. Gave this kid about a 5th or 6th round grade. Good instincts, plays faster than he looks. Brings that thump. He's a little bit of an old school linebacker. His value is more as a blitzer. Got a high character, so he's got some good traits to him. He had knee surgery in 2019, so he ended the season early. Covering running backs and tight ends could be a problem for him, but he just needs to rehab. He just needs to get better. Just work on those feet. Do what you got to do to survive. When you're a 7th round pick, that's all you're doing, man. You're trying to survive, right? But he was very productive at Purdue. 324 tackles, 13.5 sacks, 6 INTs. So he's got a nose for the ball. It was a really good draft by the Bengals. I really like what they did all around, man. I like what they did. Obviously, with the Burrow pick and the Higgins pick was great, and then the 2 linebackers back to back, Wilson and Gaither, really solid. You got four guys there, possibly 5 guys right off the jump that could start for you. You always want something like that. You always want something. And the last 2 guys are pretty much projects. Then they went out and they picked up an undrafted free agent and went out and got a kid named Tyler Clark. They signed him as a UDFA, undrafted free agent. Defensive tackle. Physical defensive tackle that does everything well. He's got those quicks. Shoot gaps really fast. So they went out and signed him as another defensive guy. So because their defense was the main problem last year in Cincinnati, and they really going early on offense, knowing that offense wasn't your problem really, and then hitting late with defensive players is always a bonus. So they drafted really well. I give them a really good grade. They're getting an A- from me. It's a solid grade. They just really hit the draft well. They did things that they were supposed to do in the draft, and it's going to be interesting to see how they are. I'm not saying they're going to be like that good, but they got their quarterback. They got their weapons. So and they're getting younger on the defensive side of the football. So sky's the limit for Cincy. Hopefully, you know what I mean. I always like to see teams do well. I got no animosity towards the Bengals. So you know what I mean. It's really good for them, man. So those are my grades for the Bengals. I'll be doing another one tomorrow. I'll be trying to get. I'm going to get to a Lions. I'm going to get to a Lions subject, guys. Don't worry. I'm not forgetting about the Lions. It's just that right now there's a little bit of a lull going on with the Lions, and I've already touched on them, but I'm going to come up with a topic either the next day or two. Probably, I'm probably going to do potential starters on offense and defense for the Detroit Lions. So stay tuned for that, and everything's going to be good. I'm not forgetting about my boys in blue, the silver, Honolulu blue and silver. I haven't forgotten about you guys at all. So I will hit on that. I'm just gonna do some things that some people ask me to draft their team, to grade their teams, and that's what I'm gonna do. So stay tuned for my next vid. It's gonna be probably tomorrow. Obviously, it's either gonna be the Lions starters or it's probably gonna be more draft grades. But I'm trying to get the draft grades done as fast as I can. But it does take time. I literally do read a lot of shit on these players, and I actually do watch tape. It's extremely fun for me. This is something that I've been having a blast doing, and it's really hard to describe. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm having a really good time doing it, but it does take some time, especially when I'm doing these draft grades, because I'm doing a lot of writing. I'm trying to write stuff down all day. I'm doing it old school, right? If I had a phone, I'd do it like that, but I do it old school, baby. I do it old school. So that's how I like to do it. So stay tuned for my next vid, guys. Stay safe, and have a boom of a time.